What does one say to an ancient Nephilim ghost?
I suppose you start with...
How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy, and we're back with another Diablo 3 Season 30 build-up video. Today we're looking at the Monk Starter Guide, Season 30, the Soul Shards Return. We're going to go over quite a bit today. Hopefully it is informative. So what we're going to do is take you from level 1 to an end game in a Monk build, from 0 to Hero, or if you prefer, Beta Soy Boy to Alpha Giga Chad. It will all be time-stamped into chapters, so if you want to skip around, feel free to do so. I will link this document if you want a copy for yourself on the hard drive. And in the description, we will put some video links to some of the builds or other videos that we reference. And as always, a like brightens my day. What is new for Season 30? Well, of course, Soul Shards Return. We've talked about that quite a bit on the channel. But importantly, with this patch, we get the Alter of Rites, which is now permanent. It has been nerfed from Season 28, so it doesn't offer anywhere near as much power, but most of the quality of life improvements make it through. In fact, they all do, which is pretty good. Visions of Enmity are now also permanent. They haven't been nerfed, I don't think, but they are as they were for Season 29. And Soul Shards, of course, offer a very powerful season theme, probably one of the most popular and, in all honesty, most powerful seasons we've ever had in Diablo 3. So very excited for Season 30. I think this is going to be good. Specifically for the Monk class, the raiment set did get buffed, but from what I hear, it still sucks. I didn't try it on PTR. I will probably play it on live, but it doesn't fill me with excitement. Raiment never does. Wave of Light, I think, got a small buff-ish because the Kirishira's blade was changed, but it's nothing major. It's certainly not anything enough to rush to go and play it. And Uliana also got buffed, and that can clear 150 now, which is nice. But it will be using, I'm guessing, Soul Shard Cheese, which I think a lot of 150 clears will be using next season. But if you want to play the Monk, Raymond, Uliana have both been buffed, and Wave of Light has been changed slightly. Hey guys, it's Filthy. Quick insert here, editing this Monk video. I have realised that actually the Wave of Light Monk has been nerfed because, as somebody pointed out, the damage modifier on the Kirishira's blade has been changed. It wasn't highlighted in the patch notes that that was a change.
Naughty, naughty!
But yeah, Wave of Light is not as good as it was, so it has definitely been nerfed. Do bear that in mind if you're preparing to play that build. In terms of the Alter of Rites, the new stuff that is coming, well, I say new, it's coming back from Season 28. A lot of the quality of life things are very nice. So auto pickup and salvage of materials, so the blue, white and yellow items. This is going to be amazing with the Visions of Enmity. You get so many items running through the Visions at T16. It is absolutely crazy, and for them to be auto-salvaged is so much fun. It was horrible in Season 29, just the absolute loot clutter on the screen and picking it up, so really nice. Those two things are going to go together really well. Of course, we get double Death's Breaths, we get double Bounty Caches, we get Resource on Crit, we get double Primals once everything is unlocked, and lots more. Of course, the Potion Powers return, the Triune Circles return. They have taken the Power Pylon out of the potions, so we do lose a little bit of power with that. But there's a lot to be said for unlocking the Altar just as fast as you can. In terms of the leveling, there is lots that is new. The Alter of Rites, of course, allowed very fast leveling in Season 28, so Season 30 will be the same. In fact, probably even faster, because the Altar Node 2, you can get it so that it says no level requirement is needed on any item. So you can put level 70 stuff on, provided you can make it, and give it to your character at level 1 and use it. We also get the bonus kill streak, so it is a little bit easier to mask a bonus, so the kill streaks last twice as long and they are twice as impactful. When we mix this with Visions of Enmity, it starts to go a little bit bonkers. When we add in the Soul Shards, it goes completely Mega Neon Ultra bonkers.
What the hell did you just say?
When we mix this with Visions of Enmity, it starts to go a little bit bonkers. When we add in the Soul Shards, it goes completely Mega Neon Ultra bonkers. So the Visions of Enmity, inside those, at level 1, you can get Death's Breaths, you can get Greater Rift Keys, bounty materials, and importantly, legendary items. All those things are going to be very useful for us whilst leveling. Soul shards, again, are in the loot pool at level 1. You can go and kill some bosses over and over again. Get them to drop soul shards. It's not a 100% drop chance. It's pretty high, but it's not 100%. You then salvage the soul shard and you get gems and you get gold. And of course, we're hoping for diamonds so that we can unlock the second node of the altar. Some important dates. The season starts on the 12th of January. This is Friday. We haven't had much notice, so you need to finish up your old seasonal character and get ready, prepping for Friday. Do not do your challenge rift when it resets on the 8th of Jan, otherwise you will be very upset. Okay, so first steps once Season 30 is live. Create or rebirth a character. I'm going to say very strongly, consider making a necromancer to level to 70, complete your season journey, and then switch onto the monk and collect your Hadrig's bags on the monk character. Don't collect the Hadrig's bags in the necro, because it will be coded as necro gear. Leave it in the little inbox on the left hand side of the screen until you've made your level 70 monk. And of course, items have got no level requirement, so you'll be able to power level yourself on a second character pretty easily, so do consider that. If you want more information on that, go check out the leveling hack video, and we will talk about that there. Of course, log into the season, equip your pets, any cosmetics you want, and then don't do the challenge rift. And I've put 90% because I think 90% of players would benefit from not doing the challenge rift, because we can get to 70 so fast using that combination of the Alter of Rites, the Visions of Enmity, and the Soul Shards, that you want to save your challenge rift bag, because it of course is an unlock for the altar kind of about halfway through, and if you use your challenge rift bag to level, well, you're then going to get stuck on the altar halfway through. Some early steps: you can take your follower's weapon and then you can salvage it and unlock altar node 1. You can go and do boss bounties, Magda and Zoltan Cool, looking for that soul shard, but also benefiting from some early level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gear, that kind of stuff. Getting the cube is going to be very important early on, so that's Act 3, Ruins of Sescheron. And you're looking out for the Visions of Enmity, because you do want to jump in there on normal, because you want to make sure you're killing stuff very early in the game. You're very underpowered, but the Visions do offer big rewards. But ultimately, the goal of this initial period of leveling is to get the altar to level 2 so that we can get the no level requirement on our items. We're also looking to train Hadrig to max level. We're going to need gold and Death's Breaths to do that. And we're looking to do boss bounties and salvage any soul shards we get until we get diamonds. So we're going to separate those diamonds, keep one for the unlock of the altar, and then sell the other 2, and that's how we're going to generate gold. Visions of Enmity, we want to run these to get Death's Breath. Once we've sold enough gems from soul shards, once we've done enough DBs, we will then be able to train Hadrig to his max rank using the Death's Breath and the gold, and that will allow us to give level 70 items to our character, which will probably be quite low level at this point. Maybe if you're very fast it'll be level 8 or 10, maybe if you get a little bit bad RNG on the dropping of the diamonds and the soul shards, it might be a little bit higher. But we can then go back into Visions of Enmity as much as we want and get materials to craft items. So what we're going to do is, once we've trained Hadrig, we're going to basically get the highest level weapon we can, preferably a level 71. So you will need a Death's Breath to rank him up. Then you're going to put the game on Torment 6, or the highest that you can cope with. Should be pretty easy with a level 70 weapon at like level 8, 10, 12 or whatever. Then what you're going to do is just run the cursed chest events in the Temple of the Firstborn. So you go to the Temple of the Firstborn in Act 2, run around until you find the cursed chest, massacre bonus level, and when the Visions of Enmity spawn, jump in, because you're looking to get the things out of the visions. So be efficient, because the visions will drop legendary items, DBs, bounty materials. It's all very important to us, but you don't want to take ages to kill the stuff inside. Some of the waves are nasty. You've got elites, you've got multiple bosses, things like that. So if you can't do it on Torment 6, drop it to 5, drop it to 4 until you're still breezing through things, because you want to get through them fast so you can make more level 70 items, because the more level 70 items you get, the more OP your character will stay. Because normally when you level, you do the reroll trick and you've got a level 70 weapon at level 40, 45, but the rest of your gear is quite outdated by the time you get to 70. By using this method, by looking through the visions to get as many 70 items as possible, and the next slides we're going to consider, when you get to 70 you're going to be actually pretty bloody powerful, and that's going to be handy to bust out your season journey very, very quickly. So remember, because you can get bounty materials in your Visions of Enmity, because you've got the cube, that means you can extract items. So you maybe if the game drops you a Loric's Crown in a Vision of Enmity, get it extracted for the XP. If you get the Mystic Ally boots, they're going to be really helpful for leveling with the monk. Or maybe you get some damage braces. Whatever it is, if it's useful, if you outgrow it, extract it into the cube because you will have the bounty mats to do so. Once you've done a few Visions of Enmity, you will collect up Death's Breath quite quickly because there are so many elites inside and they do drop DBs. You'll be able to take your level 70 weapon that you've crafted on your character and you can upgrade it to legendary, and that will give you a big DPS increase. I'm probably going to do a Daybow and see what I get when I upgrade it. You can also consider making Sage's set. It is expensive to craft, so I've put here if you get enough materials. It would give you some stat boosts, it would double the Death's Breaths if you got 3 pieces of this crafted, but it might just be simply more efficient to make 3 or 4 yellow level 70 items, so like a Daybow, maybe a pair of gloves, a pair of pants, or a helm or whatever. Now, if you do decide to do the challenge rift bag and open it and not save it for the altar, well, you'll have materials to instantly make a few level 70 items and your character will be OP as anything. So go back to the earlier steps, make sure you get the altar unlocked to level 2 so that you can put on these level 70 items and you'll rocket yourself, of course, up to 70. You'll be able to do it, train Hadrig instantly, you'll have enough to do an upgrade in the cube as we always used to do, and you will have gold for buying stuff from vendors. You'll also get 475 blood shards to spend as per normal. In terms of upgrading the weapon, the two-handed Daybow, there's a few things here you might get. You might get the Flow of Eternity for 7-sided strike, you might get a balance which buffs up Tempestuous Rush, you might get a Flying Dragon to double your attack speed potentially, you might get the Incense Torch which goes with Wave of Light, you might get the Inner's Daybow, or I've put shit out of luck because this is like, you know, thinking about looking for an upgrade, but ultimately a legendary level 70 item on your character will have you golden on most of the way T6, I think. In terms of blood shards, if you do decide to pop your challenge rift bag and you're going to wait until Monday to unlock the altar, well, you want to roll for boots because you're looking for the Mystic Ally boots because they pair, of course, really well for the inner and they're fantastic for leveling. 62% chance if you spend 475 blood shards on them. Couple of other options, Rivera Dancers, or 13.5% of you would get really unlucky. Again, if you find some shards whilst leveling, you can always make a second level 1 monk and try this again. You can also go for braces at level 1, there's Gundo Gear, there's Pinto's Pride, there's Caesar's Memento. I probably wouldn't bother, but they're there if you want those modifiers. Loric's Crown is always a nice thing to pick up, so again, if you're open the challenge rift bag, everything goes well, and you're just absolutely flush with luck, then you may as well go for a Loric's Crown. And Binding of the Lesser Gods also enter the loot pool at level 17. Now in terms of leveling tips, of course we just want to put it on the difficulty that is comfy for us because we want to get through those visions efficiently, but other than that, a red gem in your helm is going to help, of course with the Lyrics in the cube if you find it, red gem in your weapon for some damage. Less important if you've got a level 70 weapon, maybe you could try an emerald, I guess. But for leveling, you can consider going and getting a Dreg of Lies from Act 2, 25% increased pet damage. So let's say you get the Mystic Ally boots, that's your main method of doing damage. Well, you might decide you want to get the pet gem, which is the Dreg of Lies, if your level 70 weapon's got a socket. If it doesn't have a socket, you obviously can't put it in. And it does, of course, have a negative, the Dreg of Lies, which is that you yourself deal less damage. But if you're relying on the Mystic Allies, then that might be a way to go. You can still do the usual stuff, buying rings and amulets with plus damage from the vendors as you go. For the cursed chests and getting 270, it will of course be quick. You're going to spend a lot of time in Visions of Enmity, but when you're not, you're wanting to fully explore the Temple of the Firstborn because you can get resplendent chests which might have gear and materials in. And of course we're looking to spawn those Visions of Enmities. Any dot and range skills make life easier for massacre bonusing. AoE skills of course make things easier, and boss bounties can always be done if you need a gear boost, but bear in mind you will be able to find materials in visions and then craft level 70 stuff. And again, similarly, if you want to find some more soul shards, if you run out of gold or whatever, go do a boss bounty, hope a shard drops, salvage it, sell the gems that are inside. On another note, it's probably worthwhile hanging on to a solitary ruby if you salvage your soul shard and get that, because an imperial ruby is going to give you a lot of XP whilst you're leveling. For the skills, I think this really completely depends on what drops out of the visions. You can literally get tons of legendary items as you go through this, so you're going to have to be a little dynamic, build with the multipliers you get, but in general, Exploding Palm's quite a good dot. Mystic Ally plus the boots is normally a GG run. You've got Serenity to block damage because you might be a little squishy on Torment 6, meaning once you get up to like maybe mid 40s, mid 50s, if you haven't crafted any of the level 70 items without like Vitality or something like that on. And you can also always use Dashing Strike to get about, and it has got quite good dodge chance. Then when you get at 70, the Season Journey is going to give you the inner set. This is S tier as a start. It's one of the fastest and best starts in the entire game. If I could hand pick a Hadrig for free, it probably would be this every season. The 2-piece Mystic Ally gains passive effect and base mantra effect are doubled. Not the best thing in the world, but it is at least useful. 4-piece base effect of all mantras are applied to your character at all times, and then you get some damage reduction for each Mystic Ally, and the Mystic Allies no longer take damage. The 6-piece, you gain the passive rune of all of the Mystic Ally effects, which is great. You generate Mystic Allies when you attack, and the Mystic Allies do huge damage. But when you initially get to 70, of course, you're not going to have any of your journey done. I would run 2 Greater Rifts. It's going to give you a Bane of the Powerful, and it's going to give you a Lord Gem. You will have the keys to do this because of the Visions of Enmity, so you won't have to run the normal rift to get the key, just simply because you'll have a level 70 weapon, you'll have possibly some other legendary items, you might have upgraded something, you might have something in a cube, your character's going to be quite strong. It's only going to take you 5 or 6 minutes to do these 2 rifts, and then you're going to get a powerful and a Lord Gem. After that, I would then move to complete the season journey as soon as possible. Just remember that you can convert set items into cubes. If you find any other inner pieces whilst you go, hang on to them because it might be able to knock a little bit of time off. You might not need to do the full journey to get your 6-piece inner. You can always make a level 1 monk and roll for the crudest boots, gold wrap, and anything that you think will help you out at 70. In terms of upgrades, so spending your Death's Breath, I would be looking for the inner modifiers, so I would be making Binding of the Lesser Gods a priority, so upgrading braces. Upgrading Dabos, again, early on before you complete your inner set is handy, because you might get an inner's Dabo, and you might get Flying Dragon, which doubles your attack speed chance. And of course, not an upgrade, but another good modifier for inner is the Dread of Lies, because it gives that 25% increased damage, so really easy to get. Shove it in your weapon once you've got your 6-piece and it's 25% extra damage pretty much for free. Some more upgrades to consider at 70 in terms of putting stuff in the cube and making it into a legendary item. Rings and amulets, of course, are always going to offer really high value. Convention of Elements, Stone of Jordan, Focus and Restraint, Squirts all add really good damage. And you probably want some kind of cooldown reduction for weapons, so consider a Messerschmitt's Reaver, 2-handed axe, consider an Injure. Probably worthwhile making a Demon Hunter and upgrading swords on a DH because there's not many swords in the DH loot pool. Shoulders normally round out a starter inner monk, so that's Lefebvre's Soliloquy. They offer 50% damage reduction. In terms of spending any blood shards at 70, if you don't have the crudest boots, you want to secure those on a level 1 character, extract them, put them in the cube, and then all your shards are going looking for the Binding of the Lesser Gods, because really it's only the crudest boots and it's only the bindings. Once you've got those 2 things, you've got all the inner modifiers you need. Add on your Dread of Lies Soulstone, and then after that, you're just kind of perfecting things. You've got the base of the build set up. Of course, rings are always nice to roll shards for, so Convention of Elements, Stone of Jordan, Focus Restraint, Puzzle Rings, etc. And you might want to pick up some raiment pieces to start putting the Bounty Infinite Teleport Monk together. A kind of shopping list would be Dread of Lies for Act 2. Again, not Vidian, you can't get it to drop off him. Sliver of Terror, Act 4, the Soul Shard for your helmet. Guardian's plans and a Ring of Royal Grandeur, of course, will be completed in bounties. Make sure you unlock the double bounty cache node in the altar before going and doing this, because it'll thus take you half the time. Of course, your legendary gems, we're talking Enforcer, Trapped, Powerful, Boon of the Hoarder, those types of things. Gold wrap for Torment 16 to make immortality, and as we say, raiment pieces for the bounty build. Now, an interesting question here is it worthwhile completing the season journey and putting on the 2-piece inner, 4-piece inner, or is it worthwhile just going with the Lod gem? Now, if you get the Lod gem up to rank 5, it's 22.5% damage for every legendary item your character has. 10 legendary items, you're talking 225% damage. Of course, you can have 13 legendary items, so you can bump that up. If you did another rift and got it to rank 9, well, you could easily have a 450% modifier. I personally would far rather have that than the base effect of Mystic Ally being increased. I would also far rather have it than having all 4 mantras at any time. So if I was making a monk and I was going to do the season journey on a monk, I'd basically get a Lod gem to 9, I think, or maybe 8, 7, whatever it is you can afford with your gold. And then I would go and do the season journey. I wouldn't put any of the inner pieces on until I got all 6. A budget inner build is going to look something like this. So you're going to get 7 pieces with the inner. You get the daybow, boots, pants, gloves, belt, chest, and the helm. What you're going to have to find is the crudest boots, but they're in the cube from the level 1 monk. Very easy. Binding the lesser gods, spend blood shards, upgrade braces, and that's it. You're good to go. And the in-gem is pretty easy to find. As we say, make a demon hunter. Don't need any jewellery, don't need shoulders, just whatever you find that's got sockets, because you want to go Bane of the Trapped, Enforcer, and Powerful. In terms of the skills, they are here. These are the passives. It's the runes are all just the standard ones. The extra damage rune on the Way of 100 Fists, Implosion on Cyclone Strike, Water Ally, of course, on the inner Mystic Allies. We've got the Teleport with the Dodge rune. We've got the Mantra with Annihilation and the move speed, and then we've got Serenity blocking damage. As you move into a more perfected build, you want to add your Lefebvre's Soliloquy for the toughness. You want to add a Guardian set with a Ring of Royal Grandeur, because this adds a huge amount of damage and toughness early. You want to add yourself Focus and Restraint for the extra 50% times 2 damage modifier. You want to add your Dreg of Lies Soul Shard fully explored. You want to add your Sliver of Terror fully explored, as well as a Squirt's Necklace. And I think the only change that we make here is I ended up, I think, getting rid of the Mantra and going for the 29% increased damage with Blinding Flash. But yeah, something like this. Oh, I should say, end game, you're going to end up putting Inner's Belt back on and ditching the shoulders and braces in favour of Orgilds, but that might be at like 2k Paragon, 2.5k. In terms of the soul shards you want for your Inner's build, you want a Dreg of Lies at rank 3. You want it to look probably like this if you can. So the variable roll here is the increased damage, which is 15% here. You can get cold damage. I think that would be okay. I think there's an attack speed one that would probably be okay. It's not massive, this roll here. There's several options. Again, we've done a full video on it if you want all of the information on that. But what you want is this stacking pet damage effect. It stacks up to 50% extra damage, and then goes down, and then goes up, and then goes down. Now, that was what I played with on PTR. It might well turn out to be that one of the other soul shards is a bit more damage, but we're getting 25% increased damage, and then it's kind of like another 25-30% separate modifier here. So I do doubt that any of the others would beat it, but that's kind of what I used. Sliver of Terror in your helmet. Again, there is a variable roll here. You want one of the damage reductions like here, so melee or range damage reduction of up to 20%, and then you want the attack speed and crit chance are increased by 5% for each skill on cooldown, because that's just going to add a bunch of damage to your build. In terms of unlocking the Alter of Rites in your progression, Inner will be an absolute cakewalk. So GR 60, 80, 100 and GR 110 are the blood shard cap limits for various nodes in the altar. Inner can crush all of them, no worries at all. Inner is probably the fastest build in the game to get the Staff of Herding, because you make yourself the infinite teleport bounty monk by mixing it with the raiment set. So Staff of Herding should pop out in the not too distant future for you. Plus we have of course had a increased drop rate for the gibbering gemstone. It's gone up to 20%, so it's going to be 4 times faster than it was in season 28. I can see people getting stuck on the augmented weapon for a little bit. Just remember, a rank 0 soul shard will be a level 50 augment, so you can just simply slap one of those on to your weapon and that will be fine. And of course, if you salvage some soul shards, you might get the big square gems, which will make that process a lot faster. And of course, because Visions of Enmity is permanent, you can have pretty much infinite bounty materials, so reforging is quite cheap. You will need Forgotten Souls, that will be a little bit of a bottleneck. But if you're looking for like the ancient puzzle ring, reforge it. It's no biggie. You'll have the bounty mats hopefully to get it done. Some miscellaneous stuff. The easiest set dungeon on the monk is the Samwuku one. That's the one that I'm planning to do for the season journey. And then some other fun builds. We've got Exploding Palm, Tempest Rush is always a popular one. I quite like playing that one. And Wave of Light, of course, is going to be pretty good, I think, with the soul shards. Right, so that is it, guys. I hope this was enough information for you for the season launch. So in the description, I'll stick the leveling hack, which goes through the, using the Necromancer. It goes through the Visions of Enmity leveling. It goes through the order of what you want to do. I will link the inner GR120 speed build that we did on PTR, and I'll link a previous video to the infinite teleport bounty monk. You of course will be stronger than that video in some respects because you have soul shards, but off the top of my head I can't remember if that was made before or after the inner nerf that happened a couple of patches ago. But either which way, inner will crush Torment 16, so no problem doing infinite teleport bounty to get your Staff of Herding and all that lovely jubbly stuff. Right, thank you for sticking with me till the end of this video. Bit of a long one. Any feedback is welcome. Future videos, what do you want to see? Like, subscribe, and a great appreciation to anybody who has provided any sort of financial support, super thanks, anything like that. It really does keep the channel alive and kicking, which is good to see. I've been Filthy Casual. I'll see you on season 30. Take it easy. Peace.